Hi, today's victim is a Logitech MX2 Anywhere mouse. Now, I've been having problems with this mouse for a little while, and the symptoms it's showing is the fact that the left mouse button seems to double or triple or quadruple click when you press it, and it's very, very irritating to use. So it won't single click, sometimes it double clicks, things open, close. It's a real pain in the neck. So I'm going to take a look at it, see what's required, and see if we can fix it, because a new mouse would be £70–80, and I don't feel like I've got enough value out of this mouse, so I'm going to see if I can repair it rather than give Logitech another £70–80. So my thoughts are that inside I'm going to have to replace a Microswitch, and I've actually pre-ordered the type of Microswitch that I'm going to need, which is going to operate the left mouse button. And I'll just show you around the tools as well. So I'm going to have to solder the Microswitch on. Now, I've seen there are other ways of doing this, taking the switches apart and all that kind of thing, but I think it's actually much more difficult than soldering it. So I have a solder station. I'm not a professional, so this is just a cheap solder station from eBay that I just use for DIY purposes. I'm doing this on my kitchen table, and we have a grade 5 theory music book as well. That's interesting. So I'm just going to use some pliers, a small screwdriver set, which I'll just use. Probably it's going to just need a Phillips 00, but we'll have a look. I have a little bag of Microswitches, which one of them I'm going to use. Now this was about £3 again on eBay for 6 of them, so they're 50p each, so it's quite a cheap repair if you've got some time. And then I've got some solder and some copper to clean any old solder off the board, and some flux in a syringe there, and that's all. I'm going to start taking it apart and see what happens. So the first thing to do is identify the how to take it to pieces. Now, there aren't any screws obvious on the outside of the case, so I imagine they're underneath the 4 padded feet here. So I'm going to take the pads off and then see what's underneath. So literally I don't have a particularly good way, but I'm going to just try and lever a screwdriver under there, like that, and see if I can just start to leave the pad off. I'd quite like the glue and everything to come with it, so it would be nice. So I'll just try and take the pads off. Now, if we've got a spudger as well, or a guitar pick or something like that, that'd probably be handy for getting under it. I'm not actually all that bothered about ruining the pads, because hopefully we can get some new ones if I'm successful, but that looks okay. That would probably stick back on again. I'll just put those to the side. I've just got a couple of sheets of paper sellotape to my dining table, just to keep any mess off, and I'll just get under there again like that and see if I can just wiggle that round and pull it off. That's 2. Very, very, very sticky. So you can see under there, on the camera, you can see there are 2 screw holes under there, and I imagine there are 2 more at the front. So I'll take this pad off here, and this one off here. These are never very satisfying jobs to do, taking these feet off, because essentially you're just trying to get the glue off, and keeping them in good condition is quite difficult. So I'll just peel them off like that. Again, it's sticking to my fingers in a big way. And the last one. go, that's the last one, come off. So 4 screws under there, it looks like it's a small Phillips. So I'm just going to take a small Phillips out of my box. Actually, that's probably a little bit big. And 1 screw under each pad. So let's just take those off and put them over to the side. Now, I just keep everything together as I take the screws out so that you know where they go back. So I'll put these 4 screws together near the pads. And that's all 4 out of there. So now let's see, before you just rip it apart, just make sure that there aren't any plastic clips holding it together, because it's very common on these modern things. Unless you do it in the right order, you'll snap the plastic clips off. Okay, so it looks like this end, the end that the USB connector is, opens first. Okay, and the other end has plastic clips on. So if we just bring that open like that, and you can feel that it's resisting at the other end. So just turn it around, just wiggle it gently as you open it up, and you can just feel the plastic clip at this end come undone. The plastic clip's just here. Okay, under that end. So remember, it needs to go back on like that. We put the plastic clip under and then close it. It's just a reversal process. So I'm going to put the mouse top to the side, and we're left with this quite complicated little thing. So the button that's causing all the trouble is the left button here. That's left for me. The click doesn't seem to operate properly anymore. It does actually click, but inside it's not really working. It's double clicking, triple clicking, quadruple clicking. So I'm going to try and do something about it. So the first thing I'm going to do is use the just a pair of very small pliers to take the battery connector off, because the battery needs to come off. Okay, so that's this connector here. Now, it appears to be very, very stiff, so take care. I'm using it sideways like that. I can't seem to get it out without the pliers, but there you go. It does just come out there. Take the wires out from underneath the catch here, and that's ready to be unscrewed. Now there are 3 screws that are holding this battery in. If I just zoom in there a little bit. So there's 1 down here, 1, 2 here, and 3 here. So I'm going to just take those 3 out and remove the battery. Of course, this is a great time to replace the battery if you need to. They're available again on a famous auction site. I don't know how much they cost. I'm not going to replace mine here, but you can just take the battery out here and plug a new one in at this stage. So that means those 3 screws are out. Sorry, my hand's out the way, and we'll just put the battery and the screws to the side there. Okay, so to get underneath, we need to get underneath here to unsolder it from the board. So I'm going to take the board out, and so what I'm going to do is just take the screws out and that'll remove the board. Now I can see there are screws holding the wheel in, so I'm going to have to take the screws out holding the wheel in, because the wheel has to come out before the board comes out. So there's 1 screw here at this side, like that, and 1 screw here at this side. This is a Phillips 00 that I'm using. It's nothing very specialised. There's a little plastic clip here that goes over the wheel, and then the wheel looks like it comes out, but we'll have to just check. There's 1 more screw at the front of the wheel here, which needs to come out. Okay, so just undo this one, and then the wheel slides out. Remove the wheel, put it over by the other pieces. So to get the board out, it looks like there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more screws. Okay, there's one here. Number one. One here, number two. We'll just zoom in to show you a little bit better. So here's one here, two here, three here, four here, and the fifth one is here. And that looks like that's what's needed to take them out. So I'll give that a try. All the screws look to be the same, which is always a bonus. All these board screws anyway, the battery screws are different, but the board screws are the same. So that's all those out. Now let's see if the board will just remove gently. It looks like this button board here slides out, and there we go. The board should just come out. So gotcha. Instead of just loosening this one also needs to be completely removed with this little black plastic piece here, which is holding the front of the wheel. So take care to take that out as well, and then the board should now just come out. Okay, take the top out, these buttons out of their holders, and then the board comes out, and I'll just put the other side of the mouse to the side. So having a good look at this, this is the Microswitch that I'm replacing here, and I'll just try and zoom in there. I'm only doing this on the mobile, so just bear with me. So it's got numbers on it which say D2FC7N, and then in brackets 10M close brackets. That's the part number. It's a Nomron Microswitch, and there's the part number on there. So left hand button, remember that's still the left hand button. Turning it over, it's soldered onto the motherboard with 1, 2, 3 prongs there. So I'm going to try and unsolder those and take the Microswitch out. So I don't really have any fancy equipment, so I'm just relying on melting these 3 prongs one after each other, putting a bit of tension on the board, and just pulling it out. So I'm going to see how that works, and it seems to work pretty well. So if you just try and keep each one melted, then you should be able to just slowly pull it out, and hopefully there shouldn't be too much heat on the board. Now if you have a look at that, the holes are here, and the holes are full of solder at the moment. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. So having a look at that, we've got one hole here, 1, 2 and 3, and they need to be clean and clear so we can put the new component in. So I'm just going to clear those out and see if that can just suck the solder out. Seems to be doing a pretty good job. So just put the copper strand, you can see, on top of the holes, put the soldering iron into the hole, and as it melts, the copper will just absorb all the excess solder and hopefully leave the hole clear, which is pretty good. So you can see here just this hole, that hole and that hole, there isn't any solder in them, and the new component's ready just to put in there. So this is the new Onron component. Again, they're just 50p each. I had to buy a bag full. I've actually got 2 of these mice to do, one for my son and one for myself. So I've just got a little bit of flux, a little bit of solder, and I'm just going to touch on each leg and then feed a little bit of solder into the gap. Like that, one. And excuse my shaky hands, because they're really not the best. And 3, I hope. And that should be it done. So I've just zoomed in a little bit there so you can see they're the 3 joints there. And all the solder joints look really good on those. I've had a look under a magnifier and under the phone, and they look really good. Okay, so we're just coming to the reassembly. We're going to put the main board in first, and if you remember, the USB charging connector here needs to go in first, and then it gets lowered down. Right. The only difficult bit here, a slight gotcha, is that the switch underneath to switch the mouse on and off needs to engage with the switch underneath on the board. So if I just tell you here, this is the on-off switch, okay, and I'm putting it in this up position here, so that it can engage with the plastic slider for the on-off switch, which is here on the mouse. All right. So if you put it that way, it should engage if you tip the mouse like this and put that in like that. Okay. But if you just do it gently and then try the switch afterwards, so this needs to be aligned and into these sliders here for the side buttons, and then just gently push it down. Now if I turn the mouse over holding it in, it's in the on position, it's in the green on position, and I just want to make sure that it switches nicely and leave it off. Okay, so that's engaged. I'm just going to start now putting the screws back in exactly the same way as they were removed. So firstly I'm going to put the 4 screws in that will really locate the board. So these front ones here, that's number 1. Not tight at the moment because I want the board to be able to wriggle, just to make sure it's located properly as I put the other screws in. So this is number 2. Number 3. And I'll put these 4 front ones in, and also one at the back, because that'll make sure the board's straight. So I'll put this one in here at the back. Okay, so that's 1. Tighten them up. 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's 5 main screws. Okay, so putting the wheel back together now. So this is just a little bit tricky. Now, the way this wheel works, we've got the wheel here and the little plastic bit, and the little plastic bit has a lug on it there, you can see, and that needs to go into the hole in the wheel there, so it slides in like that. Now, I'm going to put it on the mouse first in position, and then one of the screws in, and just keep it loose so it's located but it's loose, and then I'm going to feed the wheel so that that hole and the little thing meet, so it's located at the front there, and then this plastic strap needs to go over the wheel like that. Locate it, and then I've just got to put the 2 screws in. So one down there. Now take your time with the screwdriver, because you know it's slipping out of the screw heads and stabbing the board is not a good idea. Okay, so just take your time with the screwdriver. Put them in. Again, don't over tighten. If you over tighten, it comes out of the screws, you strip the screws and all sorts, so it's just not necessary. They're very small, just do them up very slightly firmly. And then the last one for the wheel is just tightening the front one up like that. Now the wheel should move around a bit, and it should have a clicky roll, and when you press it, it has a free roll, and that seems to be working properly. So for the last part, the battery needs to go in. So I'm just going to locate that, and it's got this little lug here that locates over the top of this side button board, and it keeps it in the right place. So just make sure that's located. And the 3 screws for the battery, and they are different screws to the one that go on the board, so make sure you keep those separately. And 1 screw in there like that. And in here like that. And the last one goes down there to hold the board in place. Alright, so all that's left to do, we're going to reconnect the battery. So lead the wires back under the plastic hook to keep them out of the way. And then the battery connector just needs to plug back in there. Make sure it's all the way home, so just pressing at the sides like that, make sure it's all the way in. It's quite tight, and make sure that the wires are also led under the hook like that. So that's it, and I'm just going to put the top on and then give it a try to make sure that the mouse still works. So locating the top, remember the plastic clip is at the front, so we're going to locate the front like this first, and then just ease the rest of it together. Make sure the wheel's coming through the wheel hole, and push it back together like that. Right, so that's it. I'm going to go and try the mouse, see if it works, then come back and put the screws and the feet back on. Okay, the mouse has been tested. It seems to all work absolutely fine. So I'm just going to put the screws back in the base, and then put the feet back on. So just get my screwdriver bit. It needs a slightly bigger one for the base. I think this is a PH0, so Phillips 0, just to put the screws back in here. Another tip for anybody who hasn't done things like this before: if you turn screws backwards before you turn them forwards until they click, okay, that means the thread has just engaged, and it goes in an awful lot easier rather than cutting a new thread through the plastic. So turn it backwards until it clicks, and then turn it forwards to go into the same threads as it cut last time. Turn it backwards, click, and then turn it forwards. Okay, so make sure those are nice and tight. And then I'll just put these feet back on. So this one goes here. Now I can see that you can see that on the feet here, you know, some of them are not actually looking fantastic, and I've seen that you can buy replacement feet for a few pounds, which the pads, so that might be worth it. I'll see how I get on with it, or even just take them off, because it may not even be necessary to have them on at all. Essentially, I'm trying to extend the life of the mouse, and I think I'll have achieved that successfully, but the feet are not looking in very good condition once you've pulled them off. But I don't think it'll affect the usage of the mouse whether the feet are on or off. And that's it. The job is done. So I don't know how long it would take if I wasn't videoing it, because it's the first time I've ever done it, and obviously I've got 2 more to do. So this is, I imagine it'll probably take about 20 minutes or something. So good luck with it, and give it a go.